Hey everyone, Mystery Chronicles. Welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into some of the most intriguing and mysterious stories from around the world. New Orleans, 1918. A city alive with music, mystery, and the intoxicating aroma of gumbo in the air. But beneath the vibrancy, a darkness stirred. A shadow crept through the warm, humid nights, leaving a trail of terror in its wake. This was no ordinary criminal. This was the Axeman of New Orleans. The first whispers of the Axeman's reign began in May. Joseph Maggio, a grocer, lay dead alongside his wife Catherine, their throats slashed, their home left in disarray. The police, initially suspecting a robbery gone wrong, soon noticed the brutality of the attack. This was personal. This was rage. Word spread through the city like wildfire. The Axeman, a boogeyman whispered about in hushed tones. Fear, like a thick fog, began to settle over New Orleans. No one knew who would be next, or when the Axeman might strike. Weeks turned into months. The Axeman, elusive as ever, continued his spree. Each attack followed a similar pattern, a home invaded in the dead of night, the victims often asleep in their beds. The weapon of choice, an axe, usually belonged to the victim, adding another layer of chilling intimacy to the crimes. Newspapers, hungry for any scrap of information, published sensationalized accounts of the attacks. Theories ran rampant, from scorned lovers to vengeful spirits. The police, overwhelmed and under pressure, chased down every lead, every rumor, every whisper in the wind. But the Axeman remained a phantom, his motives as murky as the Mississippi River. The city held its breath, the once lively streets, now eerily quiet after dark. Families barricaded themselves indoors, fear their only companion. The Axeman had cast a long, dark shadow over New Orleans, and no one knew how to escape it. Yeah, the Axeman's victims were seemingly random, yet a pattern began to emerge. Many were Italian immigrants, hardworking families trying to build a new life in the bustling port city. Was this a hate crime fueled by prejudice and xenophobia, or was there a more sinister motive at play? Among the victims were Louis Bessumer, a grocer, and his mistress, Harriet Lowe. Both survived the attack, but their injuries were horrific. Their accounts, though fragmented and confused, only deepened the mystery. Who was a shadowy figure who moved with such brutal efficiency? The attacks continued, each one a stark reminder of the killer's ruthlessness. Charles Cortimiglia, his wife Rosie, and their infant daughter Mary were the next victims. The scene that greeted the police was nothing short of horrific. Only Charles and Rosie survived the attack, their lives forever scarred by the tragedy. Despite the randomness of his victims, the Axeman's modus operandi remained consistent. He targeted homes, usually those with easy access, often prying open a rear door or window. The attacks typically occurred on weekends or holidays, as if the killer himself enjoyed the cover of revelry. The Axeman displayed a chilling familiarity with his victims' homes, often finding their axes and leaving them behind, wiped clean. This suggested a level of planning and premeditation that sent chills down the spines of even the most hardened investigators. the brutality of the attacks, the intimate knowledge of the victims' homes, and the seemingly random selection all pointed to a complex and disturbing psychological profile. Who was this individual who could move so silently, strike with such ferocity, and vanish without a trace? Section 5. A letter from the devil. The Axeman's jazz. Then, just when the terror felt unbearable, the Axeman did something unexpected. He reached out. A letter, penned in crude handwriting and boasting of dark deeds, arrived at the New Orleans Times-Picayune. The city held its breath as the newspaper published the letter, the Axeman's chilling words now etched in print. In the letter, the Axeman proclaimed his love for jazz music. He promised to spare any home where jazz was playing loud and clear on the night of his next attack. Was this a twisted game, a way for the killer to assert control over a city paralyzed by fear? On the night of March 19th, 1919, New Orleans became a city of jazz. Every home, every bar, every dance hall pulsed with the sounds of trumpets and trombones. Never before had so much music filled the air, a defiant symphony against the darkness, and the Axeman, true to his word, did not strike. Section 6. Whispers in the shadows. Theories and speculation. The Axeman's letter, far from solving the mystery, only deepened it. Was he truly a jazz aficionado? His bloodlust tempered by a love of music? Or was this a clever ruse, a way to taunt the police and keep the city on edge? Theories abounded. Some whispered of a voodoo connection, of dark rituals and sacrifices. Others pointed to the city's seedy underbelly, suggesting a connection to organized crime or a vendetta gone wrong. Each theory, as quickly as it surfaced, seemed to dissolve into the humid New Orleans air. The Axeman's motives remained a mystery, his identity shrouded in shadow. Was he a psychopath, driven by a primal need to kill? Or was there a method to his madness, a hidden purpose behind the seemingly random attacks? Section 7. The usual suspects, chasing ghosts in the Big Easy. Despite their best efforts, the police were no closer to unmasking the Axeman. False leads and dead ends became the norm. Every suspect, every shadowy figure, seemed to dissolve upon closer inspection. The Axeman, it seemed, moved like a ghost, leaving no trace but terror in his wake. One of the most intriguing suspects was Joseph Momfrey, a man with a history of violence against women. Could this be the face behind the mask? The man responsible for so much bloodshed? However, Momfrey's alibi checked out, and the trail went cold once more. Another suspect, Frank Doc Mumphrey, a jazz musician with a criminal past, emerged years later. Mumphrey, some believed, had profited from the Axeman's jazz letter, his music career getting a boost from the publicity. But was this enough to link him to the murders? Section 8. A haunting legacy. The Axeman in popular culture. The Axeman's reign of terror eventually came to an end. His final attack in October 1919. The city breathed a collective sigh of relief. The nightmare seemingly over. But the Axeman's shadow lingered, his story woven into the fabric of New Orleans. The case, never officially solved, took on a life of its own. The Axeman became a ghoulish legend, his story told and retold in books, movies, and television shows. He became a symbol of the city's dark underbelly, a reminder that even in the most vibrant of places, evil could lurk in the shadows. The Axeman story, far from fading with time, has only grown in popularity. He has been featured in episodes of American Horror Story and BuzzFeed Unsolved. His legend inspiring both fear and fascination. Section 9. An enduring mystery. The Axeman's grip on history. Over a century has passed since the Axeman terrorized New Orleans, yet the case continues to fascinate and frustrate in equal measure. The lack of a definitive answer, the unanswered questions, only add to the allure. The Axeman story reminds us of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface, the fragility of peace, and the enduring power of mystery. It is a story that continues to resonate with audiences today, a chilling reminder that some questions may never have answers. Perhaps the Axeman's true legacy lies not in the terror he inflicted, but in the questions he left behind. Questions that continue to haunt the streets of New Orleans, waiting for an answer that may never come.